Hello and welcome back to the course on blockchain, and welcome to this new module. We've got another exciting module for you prepared here, and today we're going to look at blockchains and cryptocurrencies from a bit of a different angle. Rather than understanding it from a mining perspective, we're going to approach it from a transactional perspective because it's so different to banking. So let's have a look at what we'll learn. In this section, or in this module, we'll learn transactions and UTXOs, which stands for Unlimited Transaction Outputs, and how that is fundamentally different to the banking system we're so used to. So we're gonna, without any fear, we're gonna dive straight into the heart of how transactions work. We'll get this tutorial through with, and that will lay the foundation for everything else we do in this part of the course. Then we'll talk about where the transaction fees come from, and in the same tutorial. So I wanted to give you a heads up that this first tutorial is going to be, because it's so different, is going to be, you might find like yourself a bit surprised, and therefore it might take some time to adjust to this new approach of how transactions work on a blockchain versus in a bank. And therefore, but don't worry if you feel that, don't worry, because the second and third tutorial, they repeat that knowledge. While building on with more information, they're designed to reinforce that knowledge to help you walk through it. So if you find yourself still a bit lost after the first tutorial, just power through it, go to the second one, power through it, go to the third one. And by the end of the first 3 tutorials, you should have a good understanding of how transactions work in blockchain. And so that's the first 3. The third one is how wallets work. So we'll also discuss how a wallet works when you set up a wallet for cryptocurrency. Then we'll talk about signatures, private and public keys. So we'll dive into some privacy, how privacy works in terms of transactions on a blockchain. And we'll even have a demo with like a tool, which you can find on our tools website, where we'll actually see how these keys are generated and how they work together. Then we'll talk about SegWit. You may have heard this term, segregated witness. We'll discuss what it's all about. We won't go into the technicals, but we'll get a good understanding of what it's all about and why it was necessary for the Bitcoin network and other networks as well. Then we'll talk about public key versus Bitcoin address, terms which are commonly confused. And we'll talk about hierarchically deterministic or HD wallets, something interesting to finish off our section with. And so what I also wanted to mention is that you'll hear me talking about Bitcoin, or we'll be mostly discussing Bitcoin, but a lot of these things are commonly common for different cryptocurrencies. And sometimes we'll mention other cryptocurrencies such as Litecoin, but just bear in mind that even though we're discussing Bitcoin, like a lot of this knowledge, especially the foundational side of it, is applicable to other cryptocurrencies. There are certain details that might not be, but that's okay, because it's better to discuss, like my views, it's better to discuss it on the Bitcoin example because it's a working cryptocurrency rather than just talking in general terms all the time. And then if you decide to learn more about a different cryptocurrency, you can always pick up the details very quickly after you have this foundation. And on that note, let's get started. Let's smash through this section. Can't wait to see you on the first tutorial. And until then, enjoy blockchains.